All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's this incredible technology, right? It promises to completely reshape our world. But, and this is a big but, with all that power comes some pretty serious risks that we absolutely can't afford to ignore. So today, we're going to break down exactly what those risks are based on our source material.
So that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is AI going to be our greatest tool ever, or could it actually turn into our biggest threat? You know, the answer isn't black and white. It's complicated, so let's really dig into both sides of this powerful technology.
Yeah, it's a real double-edged sword. On one side, you've got these revolutionary advancements. I mean, we're talking about the potential to solve some of humanity's oldest and biggest problems. But on the other side, the risks are very real, they're significant. And it's exactly this dual nature, this promise and peril, that makes it so critical for us to understand the dangers right now. Okay, so let's start close to home. Let's talk about the dangers that can pop up right in your own digital life. These are the risks that can impact us personally, every single day.
First up, privacy. I mean, AI systems are just incredible at crunching huge amounts of information. That's their superpower. But here's the scary part. That means our personal data can be scooped up and analyzed in ways we never, ever agreed to. And that can lead to some massive privacy breaches.
And it's not just about our data. There's also the risk of straight-up deception. AI can now create fake news, fake videos that are so convincing it's hard to tell what's real anymore. And that kind of disinformation can be a powerful tool for manipulating what people think and even stirring up social chaos.
Then there's a danger that's a bit more subtle, almost invisible. Think about how we interact with AI every day. Our social media feeds, those little chatbots that pop up. Well, those interactions can actually be designed. They can be engineered to mess with our minds, to cause psychological harm, or even to change our behavior. And the craziest part is, we might not even realize it's happening.
Okay, so we've covered the personal risks. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture, the kinds of threats that can really challenge the very fabric of our society.
Now, before we get into the next few points, there's a key idea we need to get our heads around: adversarial threats. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty straightforward. It's basically when someone on purpose tries to fool an AI system to make it do something harmful. You know, like tricking a self-driving car's camera into seeing something that isn't there. They're exploiting the AI's weak spots, its vulnerabilities, to cause trouble.
This is a really important one. AI isn't born neutral, right? It learns from the data we feed it. So what happens if that data is full of our own human biases? Think about historical data from hiring or loan applications. The AI learns those biases, and even worse, it can amplify them, making discriminatory decisions at a massive scale. And that leads to some seriously unfair outcomes for people.
And then there's the money side of things: societal inequality. As AI gets better and better at automating tasks, what happens to the jobs people used to do? Well, it could end up widening that gap between the rich and the poor, especially if it eliminates jobs that are concentrated in certain communities.
All right, let's zoom out one last time. We're going to the highest level now, the global, systemic risks. We're talking about the really big stuff, the large-scale dangers that could potentially threaten the stability of the entire world.
Just imagine for a second. AI systems are starting to control our power grids, our financial markets, our transportation systems, all this critical infrastructure. Now, what if one of these super complex systems just fails? What if it doesn't do what it's supposed to? The consequences wouldn't just be bad, they could be absolutely catastrophic, on a scale that's hard to even wrap your head around.
And of course, we have to talk about the planet. AI could be an amazing tool for sustainability, or it could be misused. It could be used to make environmentally harmful industries even more efficient, or to make data-driven decisions that put profits way ahead of the health of our ecosystems. That could really accelerate the damage we're already seeing.
And this last one, it's maybe one of the most sobering risks of all: weaponization. We're talking about the development of autonomous weapons. Think drones or other systems powered by AI that can make the decision to kill, all on their own, with no human in the loop. The ethical dilemmas here are just massive, and there's this terrifying risk that a mistake or a miscalculation could lead to a conflict that nobody ever intended to start.
So wow, after going through all of these risks, from the ones in our own digital lives all the way up to the global scale, you might be asking, so where does that leave us? Well, what it really tells us is that the path forward isn't about stopping, but about being smart. It requires all of us to be aware and to be ready to take action.
You know, there's a quote from our source material that just hits the nail on the head. It says, "The first, most crucial step is simply to understand these potential dangers." Because you can't fix a problem you don't understand, right? Once we get a handle on the risks, Then we can start building the safeguards and the rules we need to make sure this technology is developed in a way that's safe and responsible for everyone.
And that leaves us with one final, really critical question to think about. We've just laid out all the risks. We know what the stakes are. So the great challenge in front of us now is this. How do we do it? How do we build this absolutely incredible technology in a way that it truly serves humanity and doesn't end up hurting us? That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.